Master, thank you for everything that you've done, but we will not be returning to your pedophile farm again.
Karen, come on, stop.
What? You know what? If our son has a mental illness, it comes from your side of the family. I should have never married you when I found out you had that crazy, hearing impaired sister of yours.
That's my big and only sister you're talking about. Stop saying hearing impaired. That's a negative term for deaf people.
Whatever it is, craziness runs in your side of the family and not mine.
Who's Keikaku?
That's this like old, this is like a 2000s meme of a panel from a very, very badly translated manga by a fan where it says, it's someone, it's a manga character translated into English, and they said, yes, all according to Keikaku. And there's an asterisk that says Keikaku means plan. It's like, I don't even know if it's real or not, but it's been around the internet like since I was a teenager.
Yeah. That's really
And me and Riley just like say that to each other.
Keikaku.
Yeah, Keikaku. I think I have that right. It's something like that. It's like 3 syllables.
Funny. I like it. Keikaku.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Fafty. I just learned about I'm sorry, Fafty today.
I don't know.
What's
I'm sorry,
that?
Fafty.
Oh my god. So do you guys know who Randall Emmett is? Like real shithead, like executive producer guy?
No.
He was like one of the guys involved with Vanderpump Rules for a while.
Oh yeah.
And was like secretly Lala Kent, previous actor for this podcast on a movie we
Right.
covered.
Yeah.
True.
She was sleeping with him and like a casting couch reasons. He would like buy her stuff, like cars and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Randall Emmett?
Yeah, Randall Emmett. And apparently at some point in the past, they were friendly with 50 Cent too. And at some point in the past, 50 Cent had lent Randall Emmett $1 million. And so at a certain point, 50 Cent had not received his $1 million, and it was like, had been like 6 years or something. So he starts just like 50 Cent, for those that do not know, is like the king of beef. I
Yes,
swear
it's
that
true.
like possibly like Trump would not even be Trump without like the previous stage setting of 50 Cent. He's like
That's a
the
really
ultimate
good point.
like beef rapper.
That's such
Yeah.
a good point. I never thought about it like that before. But yes, I agree.
Yeah, and so 50 Cent goes, he's not getting what he wants. He's already sent text, right? That's like the nice thing to do. So he goes into the comments of selected things to talk about stuff, and then that gets Lala riled up too. And there's a text after a series of texts where Randall, who's obviously stressed out, says, "I'm sorry, Fafty," and 50 Cent texted back $1 million, and that's the only thing. And then
I'm sorry,
this-
Fafty, $1 million.
and then 50 Cent made t-shirts of those two texts and sold like 10,000 in one day.
Wow.
That's
I'm
really
sorry,
funny.
Fafty, and there's $1 million
$1
in
million.
response.
Dude, I love shit like that.
And then apparently he got us $1 million after that.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of, I mean, it's honestly like the Keikaku thing. I'm a big fan of phrases that just rattle around in your brain. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Fafty. Like, you'll just always have that in the catalog.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
It's very important to me.
Anyway, good stuff. Why was I talking about that? I guess because of Keikaku.
Because of Keikaku.
Keikaku.
But you
What-
said there was something you wanted to talk about.
Yes, there is. And it wasn't Lala Kent,
Okay,
although
good.
I do believe she was in other Christian movies, thanks to a list of one of my favorite letterboxers. So I'm going to have to look into that. What was that movie we covered by her, though? Because y'all were talking about Mormons. It was like a Mormon movie.
It was about the baseball player.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what it was called right now. It's called like...
Was
not
it
like a shot at love, because
catching love and pitching faith,
pitching love and catching
Pitching
faith,
love
pitching
and
love
catching
and
faith.
catching faith. That's
Right,
it.
right, right.
It's so stupid.
Yeah.
It's even stupider than we would have remembered.
That was a fun one.
It really was good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I was thinking though. So more recently, last week, we covered the movie Persecuted, and I had brought up with their covering of the Faith and Fairness Act that something had happened with the Satanic Temple, and I couldn't remember what it was.
Yes.
But once I looked it up later, I couldn't believe how spot on it was, because what the Satanic Temple was actually fighting versus Arizona State, the Arizona State Senate, was the Respect Act, which stood for Reject Escalating Satanism by Preserving Essential Core Traditions.
That's so stupid.
So stupid. And
That's
they're
really
trying to
funny.
do literally the opposite of what they're saying in kind of the same thing actually. But they were trying to make it that like, no, Christianity is actually the main religion, so you should respect that and keep anything satanic out of the court.
It's
Okay.
funny how they like come up with the name of the thing first, and then they have to figure out what the acronym stands for.
It's a work
Absolutely.
backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work. It's not witty if you have to work backwards. You have to, I'm sorry, this is
Yeah.
cheating. Come up with the things you want to say first, and then maybe find a way to arrange them. That's
Yeah.
cute. I refuse to acknowledge the Respect Act.
Yeah.
I do. I cannot handle that.
What they could have called it. What's that thing? The anti-Zionism thing. The like
BDS.
BDS. See, they should have called it the BDS Act. Banish devil swiftly.
Banish demonic sorcery.
Yes, and then they would have tricked all the fucking like all the leftist people into voting for it.
Into supporting BDS,
Right.
Julian.
Yeah.
You need to work for the Republican Party. You would be a genius
Yeah.
lobbyist. I don't know what those are, but
And
be
you
a
would
good
trick
one.
or you would trick all the right wing, because all the leftist people always like look up what this shit is.
Right.
So it would
Right.
trick all the right wing people into supporting BDS across the board. So I mean, we'd have
Double
to,
actor.
the fucking Church of Satan would have to, take one for the team in
Right.
order for all the right wingers in Arizona to support BDS.
Right, it's like
against
chess.
Zionism. Yeah.
It's like chess. And, you're either the pawn or the king, baby, And they could call it the FAFTI Act.
Yeah.
The Fafty Act.
Forget about fighting terrorism.
Israel.
Yeah.
Because you're not getting any money anymore from us.
Yeah.
The extra ironic thing though there was that that senator was specifically the Freedom Caucus leader.
Yes. And freedom
Good.
stands for
Yeah.
faith, really, especially
Excites.
Exists.
excites dudes over mere. Dudes
Over.
or me.
Over my God, one word.
Yeah. The Freedom Caucus.
Yeah. Yeah, they need to stop. They need to stop with the acronyms. You need to come up with what you want to say first, then find the
Yeah.
acronym. That's how it works.
They really just, they knocked it out of the park with the Patriot Act.
They did.
And then
Right.
it's just never going to
Protect-
be, no one's ever going to fall for that again.
Protect against. Wait, is that actually an acronym? I thought that was just the Patriot Act.
I think it's an acronym.
No.
Yeah, because that was like the whole thing was like they call it the Patriot Act. to get people to like vote for it.
I had no
Patriot
idea.
Fries an acronym? Oh wait, it wasn't Patriot Fries. It was
Freedom
Fries.
Fries.
I
As-
forgot
yeah, here
just
you
when
go.
I was working at Rack/Mr. Hero, and somebody came in and was trying to order Patriot Fries for me, and in my head I was like, he's not even getting it right. I was like, we don't have that. We don't have that. Do you
He
want?
meant to
We
say he was
curly
trying to say
fries.
potato. He got confused. He thought potato fries was renamed Patriot fries. So it's called the USA Patriot Act. So calling it the Patriot Act is like lowercase. It's a nickname. The actual official title is USA Patriot in all caps Act. The formal name of the statute is the Uniting and Strengthening America by Providing Appropriate Tools Required to Intercept and Obstruct Terrorism.
No.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
That's
oh my
I,
god.
I this whole time I just thought that was the name of it. I did not know it was an acronym.
It's true. It's
That's
true. It's
insane.
real.
That's so horrible.
I mean, Osama bin Laden, he's no longer with us. Rest in peace.
Right.
But he really
Wait, what
won.
did Osama stand for? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna
Osama.
say, overtly.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
America.
shit. Another.
Another murderous act.
Oh no!
Just in plain
He
sight
re-
this whole time. People didn't know.
Oh my god!
But he really won.
Yeah, in what way? Same way.
This is the complete decline of America.
Of America,
Failing
yeah.
of all of our
That is a-
institutions and
That's a good point.
inability to provide for its people in any of the most basic ways. Just that.
Wow.
But if you think about like, spending trillions and trillions of dollars to kill one guy, then I guess we won.
I gotta say, I now have this horrible mind virus where when you're saying a sentence, I'm only thinking of the first letter of every word you're saying. Like it's like some sort of synesthesia thing that's like really impacting my ability to process information.
Yeah.
Well, I have good news because we have the perfect movie to simplify that, at least for a moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. That's what art should do. It should allow you to sort of just it should relax you.
Mm-hmm. It should serve God and relax you.
And relax. Yes, exactly. And I think we have the perfect film for this. Should we start the show?
Let's start the show. Let her rip.
Let her
What if
rip.
we had a whole new opening and we just said that and it went into like rockin' music?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Welcome back to Boys Bible Study. That's boys overtly young studying Bible into biblical laws every day. So you
Wait.
so
No,
so the United dudes YOLO.
You only live once.
Which of course stands for you only live once. I'm Ash here with my co-host
Scott, which stands for I can't think of anything.
I can't stop.
And Julian.
Well, I think it's safe to say, I know it's early.
Acronym TBD.
We're working on it. We're working backwards from there. I think it's safe to say on this special episode that we have found a new banger. Like, it's been a while, and there's something I love about genuinely every film we watch. It's been a couple months since I watched a Christian film that put like genuine joy into my heart. There was one moment during the movie we watched last night where I, alone in my living room, was yelling out like, woohoo! Like, it's heating up now. I'm not even kidding. And we honestly just put this one on because we were intrigued by the title and the cover art, and we had no idea what we would expect. So we sit here today podcasting, excited to tell our gentle listeners about it. It is called The Boy Who Saw Christ.
Woo.
Woo.
Yeah, this was a roller coaster. One of the most misleading trailers you will ever see.
I went in totally blind. I didn't watch the trailer beforehand. I will say from about minute 15 to minute 30 of this movie is like climbing up a huge roller coaster and then just being dropped. Like the whole movie is good, but like the latter end of the first act is like, if it kept that pace the entire time, it would be the best film we ever watched for the show.
Yeah.
I would say personally, it's in like the top 20, 25 for me, which is saying a lot.
Easily.
But just saying, this is a special one, and we really recommend people watch this one. But we're excited to talk about it. The Boy Who Saw Christ. Maybe we should start with like looking at already blanking on the director's name. Kenya Cagle. Guys, I honestly barely got time to look at this website, but what is going on with Cablevision? Cablevision.
Oh my gosh.
I'm doing my Kegel exercises. Ready
Scott,
to...
you got to tell us about Cablevision.
Oh, everything that I can figure out from the same site. Well, right at the top of the site, very big, is the email, keglevision@gmail.com, and a phone number, 646-600-5360, and then Cablevision.
Right.
Kegels are a type of exercise, right?
It's his
Am I
last
wrong?
name.
Yeah, but
You're thinking of Kegels.
Kegels.
Yeah, it's spelled differently, but it's it's similar.
Well, it's confusing because when you go to the Cablevision YouTube, which is where I started after watching this movie on Tubi, it looks like an exercise YouTube channel, just in branding.
Yeah. With weird, like, rudimentary 3D characters, like advertising exercises, while Mr. Kegel himself exercises for you.
He is doing Kegel exercises.
Yes.
Not to be confused with Kegels, as I did.
Right.
Yeah.
These are Kegels.
Yes. Right. They are. And Kenya Cagle, who is a director with, again, this is the first film of his we've watched, but like he has a seemingly fascinating body of work. This includes homemade exercise videos that he leads on his website. He links to a film on Tubi called Ordinary Exercise, Extraordinary Results. The cover looks like something Julian would make on his phone in 30 seconds. Not really trying. I hate to say it. And
awesome.
Yeah, it's really good. It's him from all different sizes and perspectives with like the background cropped out.
It really is
arranged.
an inspiration.
Yeah, but also just like look at the other films on Keglevision.org. There's a film called Father Dad, which is like
Father Dad. I watched the trailer for that. Could not tell you what it's about. His YouTube channel has several of his exercise videos uploaded multiple times, all with the phrase "copy of" before the title.
Oh, that's what you sense.
Yeah, he has copy of Brutal Basics twice. And you can tell they're different. It's not YouTube that's glitching out. He's uploading them twice because one has 11 views and one has 24 views. He has copy of Basic Basics twice.
Basics?
Yeah, he has Ordinary Extraordinary. These are just his exercise videos. He has copy of Basic Training twice. He has copy of Brutal Body, which is a really cool name for an exercise.
Yeah, Brutal
video.
Body is like
3 times.
I think I saw Brutal Body perform at like the first Non Plus Ultra space in 2016.
Copy of Brutal Body topped out at 3 views the first time he uploaded it. The subsequent 2 times he uploaded it has 1 view each, which is truly incredible to have a 1 view video on YouTube.
I know.
I didn't even know if
possible?
that was possible.
And this is like a guy who we watch.
He has somehow managed to like consistently get under 10 views on his uploads, which is remarkable.
That's
You
like
have to do like anti-SEO to do that.
Yeah.
You have to run some kind of algorithm that prevents YouTube from looking at what you're doing.
He has so many
listen,
videos on his
Brutal-
YouTube channel.
As a fan of really crazy turns of phrase, while Brutal Body is very poetic, I will not get over basics.
Basics.
That
pretty
no one
good.
has ever said that. No one has ever said that phrase.
It's also
in the
basic,
history of
comma,
the world.
basics.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I do really like Father Dad. He has a film called Sin Apple. An obsessive man casts a spell to make a woman fall in love with him. The spell works, but issues arise when she is unable to forget her true love. Very intriguing.
I'm excited for 13 months. That one's not out yet, but the trailer was intriguing on YouTube.
Yeah.
These are his narrative features.
Right.
So he also has you can find the rates on their website as well. And you can they will make a short film for $1,000.
Okay.
It says they provide everything,
Oh shit.
including editing. So
Whoa.
if I come into some money or I open another credit card, that there might be our first Christian short film produced by Kegel Vision.
Wow.
You should
Wow.
get them to do a music video for one of your
That's
musical
such a good
projects.
idea.
It's
That's a
only
great
like
idea.
it's not that much. I think it's even cheaper than a short film. It might be the same price, but still.
You can also buy a duffel bag for $80 with the posters of all of his films.
What?
Where
on
did you see Let me
that?
show you this. It's on his website. I'll send it to the chat. It seems like AI generated. I can't really tell, but it's
Oh,
advertised.
dude, that rules.
It's advertised on the website that you can buy an $80
That looks like a nice
duffel bag.
too.
I mean,
Whoa.
I really don't know if he just like put the pattern into some algorithm thing, because they're also selling candles. This leads me to believe it's like a Teespring type thing where like, you upload your art and some, third party service like.
yeah. You are never seeing this duffel bag if you pay for it.
No,
This is
exactly.
never
I'm sorry.
making
There's
it to
no
your-
way. And it wouldn't be Kenya Kegel's fault. Like,
No.
Of course not.
I mean, I did buy a mug. Me and Woodrow bought some merch from popular outsider meme accounts, Mind of Jason, for our friend Tom for his birthday. And I did buy a mug that was printed on it. Jewish pussy got me acting strange. And it did arrive. It actually arrived quite quickly.
That's
So
pretty awesome.
services like these can possibly work, but I'm thrilled by Kenya Kegel. He has a really compelling, just like website, and seemingly
Welcome
a
to the
compelling
fucking
body of work.
lexicon.
But
Where
you
is
know,
even
we're
the
here to
store
talk
part of his
about-
website?
You have to go to
Oh.
home. If you're on your phone.
I don't even remember where
Okay. Go. Oh, that's so weird.
you have to
Why would it
click
be
on
set
home.
up like that?
I don't
Okay.
know. And wait. Hold on. I have to read the brand story of Randola, which is his clothing brand.
Oh,
I
and
have to
before
read
you do, Ash, I should say that was an interesting thing, because when you link this website, the Randall Aware thing pops up, and since that is home, that's clearly what this website originally was.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, right. And then he sort of switched it over to like focus on the movies.
Well, it's probably the
Um,
exercise first, then the movies, once he realized he's got a video camera.
Yeah.
Right. Actually this story is it's not really that funny. It's just kind of wholesome. He apparently thought he was going to die from COVID and blah, blah, blah. He wanted to fulfill his dreams after that. As you will see, this line of activewear and products are of high quality and affordably priced. That means a duffel bag with an AI generated photo of the poster of The Boy Who Saw Christ. Then if you scroll down on the website, there's an embedded video, a stock footage of a woman running up a mountain, and it says, "See you at the top." Okay.
I got the pricing
Oh,
a little
man.
wrong. It looks like he will shoot a birthday party, wedding, graduation, or anniversary for $500 minimum.
Okay.
Okay.
Short films which is 1 to 45 minutes, start at $1,000.
Okay.
And
A 1 minute
music
short film.
music videos, we will shoot and edit your music video in HD and or 4K for $10,000 and up.
Okay, that's a little steep. I mean, I'm sure he deserves it for his work.
It's a lot considering the production quality of his feature film.
Well, yeah. We'll see. But we're here to talk about The Boy Who Saw Christ, which, like, I would be happy if this was his best film. Like,
Yes.
you know, I'm excited to watch more. And like I have a feeling that like I will be what did Scott just send
This
us?
fucking candle with the movie,
It's a
literally
mug.
just
What's on
about.
there?
Oh, that's a mug. I was just about to send you
With
the
the
poster
two-
for that.
For Synapple. Yeah, you can get a mug with the poster for Synapple circling the mug sideways, so it's like completely illegible. And you can see the Tubi logo. Okay. We're here to talk about The Boy Who Saw Christ. It's a film that is in a style of Christian film that we've seen before. It definitely has some tropes that we've seen before. And it does them, I would argue, in. Let me start that over. This is a Christian film that deals with a lot of tropes we've seen before, but it does them in a really unique and special way, and took some twists and turns that like really thrilled me. I will just start by saying that The Boy Who Saw Christ is another entry into the canon of magical child Christian films.
Yeah.
Magical
Yeah.
Christian child films. These are films where usually the innocence or the, precociousness of a child who knows God is able to achieve wonderful things in the world around them. What are some other magical child films that we've watched so far in our run?
I believe. That's a
Yeah.
big one.
This movie was the most similar to I Believe, in my opinion, of anything we watched. We believe that I Believe is one of the best films we've ever watched. It was like the fourth or fifth film we ever covered on this show, all the way back in like 2019 or possibly 2020. And it's just stayed in our memory to this day. It was one of the ones that made us want to start the show. And here we have a film that, treads similar ground and also does it really well. It reminded me of The Girl Who, what was it called? The Girl
Believes
Who
in
Could-
miracles.
Believes in Miracles.
Yes.
Which a difference between that movie and this movie, spoiler alert, is in The Girl Who Believes in Miracles, the miracles that she's causing are literally draining her life force. They are putting her closer to death with every miracle. That fortunately does not appear to be the case
Yeah.
with The Boy Who Saw Christ. He seems to be trucking just fine.
He's doing
miracles.
good. He gets it.
He really does. He's locked in.
It really is most similar structurally, I think, or at least somewhat to I Believe, because that boy too is like sure of his faith, and he knows it's
Oh,
good,
yeah.
and he knows he's doing the right thing, despite what his parents say or think.
Yes, that's a big part of I Believe, is like his parents just do not believe in him.
Yeah.
They are saying things to him like, do not go to church. But he's like, why are your dad's going to be upset if he sees you reading the Bible? Is like a line from I Believe, basically. Not that's quite the same dynamic here, but a bit similar.
I think there's,
His mom questions it pretty hard.
yeah.
Yeah,
This
she
mo-
does.
Yeah, she is very. I don't know. At what point? At some point, it seemed like maybe she should just agree with everyone around her. But this movie seemed to have a very Mr. Cagle seems to have some issues with respecting women.
Interesting.
I was picking up on in a lot of this stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, let's get into that. I think the first thing I want to set up though is like, the first part of the movie is very linear.
Yeah.
And the first act of the movie essentially ends when Kenneth, the boy in question, sees Christ.
Yes.
What I want to know is, how do they get there? And what is the initial reaction of Kenneth's family?
Yeah. So there's not much of there's not many forces, driving him to see Christ. But the movie starts with our little boy Kenneth sort of getting ready for church. Actually, he's playing with a toy or something, right? And then his mom comes in and tells him to get ready.
Something like that.
And his dad is downstairs waiting. And they all, leave pretty happily after joking around for a minute. And they head out the door and go and get in the car where, for whatever reason, the dad... Does anybody remember the name of the dad?
Oh man!
Of
it was
course,
like
Derman. No, it's Sherman.
No,
she
no,
calls
no,
him to
no.
insult him.
Derman.
right.
I was going to
Sherman
get to that.
is his real name.
Oh, sorry.
Sherman. That's all right. A little teaser. Sherman, the dad, who was just rushing the family to get out the door to go to church, just said that he needs to make a pit stop at his mom's house, which causes a little bit of tension in the car,
Right.
naturally. And he won't explain why he has to do it when they're rushing to church. And he goes in there and talks to his mom and sister. He just sits down and has like a whole hangout while Kenneth and the mom hang out in the car.
Right. Yeah. After insisting they have to rush out the door, he just
Yeah.
stops somewhere for like 15 minutes.
Yeah. And he has just sort of a catch up with his mom and his sister, who I believe is deaf,
Yes.
which we find out later the reasons why. And he gets back in the car, and I feel like this is kind of where the plot begins, is this first big fight in the car.
Yep.
Which goes on for a very long time, and I can't really remember what it's about, but I did notice that some guy just walks by in the background and then goes into his mom's house and leaves the front door open after he goes in. That's basically the only thing that I wrote down.
The car shots were crazy. It was so close up, like crazy angles.
And whenever they had to film Kenneth talking in the back seat, the whole car was shaking because clearly someone was in the front seat, like facing backwards, trying to film it, and like couldn't get comfortable. So the entire car is shaking whenever it shows Kenneth in the back seat talking.
Yeah.
I guess it's a big argument about like, just the mom. What is the mom's name?
Oh man. I mean, there's not that many people listed. It's got to be like Cynthia or Karen.
The IMDb was weird for this, though.
Yeah, no
go
headshots.
figure.
Yeah.
It is Karen. She is a Karen. Oh my God.
So, I feel like the movie really starts when Sherman gets back in the car and him and Karen sort of have an argument about him spending time with his mom and his, to quote her, mentally ill sister.
Right.
And I believe here he explains that his sister is not mentally ill. She's deaf, which was the result of a car accident that killed her husband and son.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, which is kind of par for the course for the rest of this movie, of people just totally like disregarding the context of like anything.
Yeah.
And just going with whatever they've decided is how things work.
Yeah, that's a huge theme.
Because despite knowing this, that his sister is just deaf and traumatized from a car accident in which she was deafened and her husband and child were killed, she is often referred to as being mentally ill, and
Yeah.
that's about the long and short of it.
Yeah, I want to add to the description of that scene that Kenneth at one point, Kenneth is portrayed, he's kind of like, he's like wise beyond his years, the child who sees more than you expect the child would.
Yeah.
And he says, Mommy don't like Auntie because of her mental health.
We can talk about it later when our boy is not around.
Why, Sherman? He got eyes. He could see.
Yeah, Mama, I see you don't like Auntie. Is it because of her mental health?
How did you hear about that?
Yeah, you and Mama was just talking about her. Mama spelled out mental health and death.
Kenneth,
So I figured that was why Mama didn't want to go see Auntie.
don't you ever say those words to your auntie, Kenneth.
Karen is yelling at him and saying, you will stay in a child's place. Also, Kenneth reveals that like his mom got in a fist fight with Auntie at one point.
Yeah.
So there's like physical, and that's kind of brushed over like a detail, but it's like this family will just like start swinging at each other.
Yeah. This is like this is the super low budget indie filmmaker, outsider filmmaker trope of everybody in your movie hates each other.
Yes.
For no real reason. They just all hate each other, but they all spend all their time with each other, which
Right.
is, also not too uncommon amongst families in
That's family.
most of America.
That's
I feel like.
family.
Something
Yeah.
there.
And you do feel the tension a lot too. Like even if you like even without the context of what they're saying in the car, you can tell something's been going on and they need to like have a real conversation where they're honest with each other and open up.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when they get to church. So they arrive at church and they're in the service. They're sitting in the, what do you call that? The audience on the pews?
In the pews, yeah.
They're sitting in the pews with people like
Congregation.
directly behind them, and they're just arguing with each other at full volume
Yeah.
while like pretending to clap along with the music.
Yeah, they're both clapping softly at times that do not seem to be tied to any rhythm. Obviously they're acting and there's no music playing, but the director, Mr. Cagle, said, while you're arguing, can you guys clap to the music? Because I'm going to put in music playing here. So they're kind of oddly clapping while trying to deliver their lines. And I just want to say, this is when the movie really goes for it.
Yeah.
This is when The Boy Who Saw Christ becomes one of the best new Christian films.
Yeah. So you're talking about when Kenneth asked to go to the bathroom?
I sure am.
Yeah. Why don't you walk us through it?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So yeah, they're sitting in the pew. Kenneth asks his father if he can use the restroom. His father says, "I'll take you." And Kenneth says, "I'm a big boy." I think he's supposed to be about 8 years old. He
Yeah.
says, "I'm a big boy. The bathroom's right over there. Can I just go?" And at first his father is like, a little reticent to let him go, but then he says, "Yeah, sure, make sure you wash your hands." When Kenneth goes into the bathroom, he's only there for a moment before a man wearing a robe with long dreadlocks just emerges in the bathroom with Kenneth.
Yeah.
Kenneth immediately recognizes him. He says, "Jesus, I love you, Jesus." And Jesus and Kenneth share a warm hug in the bathroom. Kenneth, at this point, has become the boy who saw Christ.
Yep. That is the titular scene. That was the entirety of the scene in which the boy sees Christ.
He sure did.
Yeah.
And he saw that Christ. Now, that's all well and good. I remember seeing that and being like, oh, that's funny. Not knowing what the next 20 minutes of the film are going to be. 20 to 30 minutes of the film are going to be. Kenneth sits back down with his family and says, "I saw Christ in the bathroom and he hugged me." His family starts freaking out in the middle of church. They're not really focusing on the Christ thing. It kind of comes and goes. At one point, I wrote down his mom said, "You really saw Christ in the bathroom."
Yeah. She tells him that he couldn't have seen Christ because Christ is dead. And then Sherman gets mad because he's like, you told our boy that Christ is dead?
You think you really saw Christ in the bathroom?
I don't think. I know I did.
You didn't see Christ in the bathroom.
I didn't.
No, you didn't.
Why not?
Because Christ is dead. He's alive, but Christ is in heaven.
I just hear you tell our son that Christ is dead.
You know what I mean.
No, Dad. Christ isn't dead. I just saw him in the bathroom.
What do you mean you just saw him in the bathroom?
He hugged me for a few moments.
Whoa, wait a minute. Who hugged you for a few moments in the bathroom?
Christ.
Some man held you while you were in the bathroom?
Yeah, and he goes, Christ isn't dead. I just saw him in the bathroom. He hugged me in the bathroom.
Yeah.
He was wearing a robe. And Sherman's like, what a day.
So Sherman gets up in the middle of the service and just stops everything and says, I think at this point, Karen has taken Kenneth away. And Sherman says, like, we have to stop the service. A man just hugged my son in the bathroom.
Yes.
Where
does Kenneth go at this point? He sort of disappears from this scene.
Yeah, I think it's like his mom took him away.
Well, the mom is... Oh, yeah. The mom and him leave.
I think so. This is just like, the intensity keeps escalating.
Yes.
Sherman now is leading the entire church on like a vigilante hunt, interviewing men sitting in the congregation.
Yes.
Asking who touched his son in the bathroom.
There's the part where the guy comes in and he's like, oh man, boy, am I happy to see this church. I've been driving all over looking for churches. I finally found one that suits my interests. And they're like, who are you? You don't belong here. Get the hell out of here.
Did you use the bathroom?
Yeah.
You the stranger in the bathroom who touched my son.
It's worth noting there's a lot of discussion about who this man in the bathroom is and where he came from. At no point does anybody go walk to the bathroom.
No.
Or check anywhere outside of the congregation hall.
Well, at one point they say lock the doors, and they lock the doors that are in the immediate room that they're in.
Yeah. We don't want any strangers coming in or out.
No, I just feel like at that point, Jesus is probably gone. Plus, Kenneth told them that Jesus was a man with long dreadlocks.
Yeah.
That does not match the description of any of the men who are in this scene.
Yeah, they're yelling at like a bald guy in a suit. He said Jesus was wearing a robe and had dreadlocks.
Yeah. And he naturally is like, I'm new here looking for a new congregation, and this is how you treat me? Fine, I'll leave.
Yeah. But remember this guy because he comes back later in a big way.
So they get a detective. They call the local detective to get out there. And he's like,
yes.
Well, I see you have cameras up. They seem to be pointed towards the bathroom. Let's look at the footage.
Wait, did you catch the when there's like a bunch of commotion and I think the pastor is calling 911? Did you catch the little joke that they added in there?
I don't think so, no.
Where he's like, someone touched a child in the bathroom at our church, and there's a pause and he goes, no, I don't know where the nearest Catholic church is.
Right. Yes. That's so true. I forgot to write that down, but they stick it to the Catholics.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he nails it home even more. He's like, no, I am not a priest.
Yeah. Weirdly, a weird moment of levity when the congregation is looking for a possible pedophile.
Yes. Just a way to break the mood a little bit. Does this technically fall into the genre of anti-Catholic Christian films? Because it has a joke implying that all Catholics are pedophiles and that it's weird for a child to be molested at a Protestant church.
I think it does.
I remember again, like basically saying out loud to myself because I was drunk and alone and being like, they're really giving it to the Catholics in this one. But yes, they call a detective. They call 911. The scene at the church ends, but the real scene is what happens when the pastor and the detective, Kenneth and his parents, meet in their apartment.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the scene where I was just like, oh my God.
This was awesome.
It was just so awesome. Like, I want to like get a troupe of 6 actors and like restage this scene.
Yeah. Officer John was one of the funniest characters in the movie.
Yes.
He was like, I think he was supposed to be like kind of like Columbo,
Yeah.
but the guy playing him couldn't quite commit to it. And he was like clearly supposed to be some kind of comic relief. He was wearing like a pork pie hat, a like oversized Kmart tie, and like a checkered sport coat. He just looked ridiculous.
Yeah.
And he was kind of supposed to be like, yeah, like a wisecracking detective. But yeah, when they meet, the detective and the priest go to, or the detective and the pastor go to Kenneth and his parents' apartment, even though they like lived in a house at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it was just the layout was a little different.
You know, it was definitely like in an apartment. There was like boxes and like an exercise bike around.
Yeah.
They clearly filmed that scene in an apartment.
Yeah. And the detective showed up to explain, to the father's delight, who believes that his son may have seen Christ.
Yes, his father, Sherman, at this point, it buys into the Jesus.
Yeah, he does not want to rule out the possibility that he did see Christ. But the detective shows up and tells the parents that the police have ended the investigation and did not find anybody who went into the bathroom and touched their child. And she's upset by this, and he tells her that she should be grateful that the police didn't find anything, which I thought was really funny. Imagining the police like trying to solve a murder, and they're just like, well, we couldn't find a murder, so I don't think your friend was murdered.
Yeah, so where's the problem?
So you should be grateful that we didn't find a murder.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. And the justification's so fun. They're like, before they even say, like, maybe it is Jesus, the mom's asking, who hugs an 8-year-old boy in the bathroom? And Sherman's like, maybe someone who loves kids that forgot it's inappropriate in the bathroom. Yeah. And then once they're saying, well, what if it's actually Jesus? Then the mom, Karen, says, with my son in the bathroom? It's a good point. Still sounds weird. I don't remember if it's the pastor or the detective who says, we don't know why Jesus does what he does. And then she says, then Jesus has some unresolved issues.
Sister Karen, what if Kenneth actually saw Jesus?
So you trying to be funny?
No, I'm not being funny at all. Jesus can show up anywhere at any time.
Really? In the bathroom? With my son? Then Jesus has some unresolved issues.
We don't know why Jesus does the things that he does and why he does them that way.
Yes. So there's still more lines in this scene, but it's like we're watching this movie called The Boy Who Saw Christ. And then like a half hour into the movie, I'm like, this entire film is just like jokes about kids being molested.
Yeah.
This like entire fucking Christian film about like a miracle boy is only talking about molestation for like the entire first act.
And it's like
so crazy.
Painting the one person who is taking this seriously as like the villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who starts like talking shit about Jesus when the police can't find
It's honestly
the person who touched her child.
I know. It's honestly kind of like a C-Tom movie, but without the like horrifying vibe. It's like the yin to C-Tom's yang.
Oh, C-Tom is a really good comparison because of the escalation of personal traumas and also like confessions about their life. Okay, if you don't mind, there's a couple beats that happen in their arguments, and I just kind of want to run through these beats because they all happen right next to each other. So at one point, this is a bit unrelated. At one point, I can't remember who says it, but someone says to the pastor, "We will not be returning to your pedophile farm again," meaning the church. Then Karen says to Sherman, "I should have never married you when I found out you had that crazy hearing impaired sister."
Yes.
Which someone actually corrects her and says, "Oh, hearing impaired isn't politically correct. You should say deaf." Anyway.
Also, again, lost her hearing in a car accident that killed her husband and son.
Yes. And that's
Karen just chooses to ignore every time she refers to her as crazy or mentally ill.
Yes, when it's convenient. Sherman says, she lost her husband and child in that car accident. Then something happens. I can't remember what. And this is when I started being like, ooh, I was like, what is going on? Karen says, being molested is no joke. I had the same thing happen to me when I was a kid. I had my uncle touch me in all of the wrong places.
Yes.
That was some C-Tom shit. Like when the movie said that, I was like, oh my God.
All the wrong places.
All the wrong places.
We're talking about my son.
Our son.
My son being molested. Being molested is no joke. I had the same thing happen to me when I was a kid.
Oh, so that's what this is
Yes,
about.
this is what this is about. My uncle.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
My uncle touched me in all of the wrong places. And no one believed me. And that's when I stopped believing in all y'all men.
You know, you calling my sister crazy? Well, you got a pedophile in your family.
When someone is just dropping the fact that they were molested as a child into the chat. Bear in mind that the pastor and Officer John are standing about 3 feet from Karen and Sherman while they argue, and Officer John is like pretending to read a file in like a manila folder the whole time, but is like occasionally peeking over the top of the folder to see what's going on.
And they're all making like really dramatic like reaction faces. Like the pastor and Officer John are both kind of like doing the Jim from The Office look at the camera when she says, I had my uncle touch me in all the wrong places. And then they argue, then Sherman says to Karen, like, basically, I'm paraphrasing, but he says like, well, you think my family's crazy because I have a mentally ill sister. Like, you got a pedophile in your family. They're just like, what? What are they fighting about?
Thankfully, Kenneth is not in the room during all this. Should we talk about Derman?
Yes,
more.
That comes up in the end of this scene, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The only thing I wanted to add is that at one point, I know I'm jumping around a bunch, but Karen says, there is no God. I only go to church to satisfy this fool.
Yeah.
Referring to her husband. So they've dropped so many bombshells in this one scene alone.
This seems to be the straw that broke the camel's back.
Oh, yeah.
I was confused as a viewer at this point if the boy actually saw Christ or not. Like, thankful.
Yeah.
I think the low production value really made it, really obscured whether or not this was just a person who came out of, like, who was, had nefarious intent.
Right.
Or if it was actually Christ. Except for maybe the harp noise that played when he stepped out of the closet.
Well, that was the thing to me at this point. I was like, maybe he did imagine it. Like, it's been like 25 minutes since this happened and we haven't seen Christ again. So like he's seen his parents fighting. He takes comfort in church. Maybe that's what he wants and what he's imagining, because everybody keeps talking about like what a good kid he is and like what a good heart he has, basically.
Yeah.
You don't know.
But then
you don't know. No, I agree. The DIY aesthetic in this film really did a lot for it. Sorry, go on, Julian.
I just thought, at this point I was like, this movie is not like good, not well made.
Maybe.
Acting is, by like, Academy Award standards, which, you could go on all day about whether or not those really, pick out good movies or not. This movie ain't going to be on the Criterion Collection anytime soon. Hopefully someday in a just world it would be.
Hey, Freddy Got Fingered just got on Criterion Channel.
Really?
I was just going to
Yeah.
say they have now added Freddy Got Fingered to Criterion Collection, which honestly is a cultural victory.
Yeah, I just watched that.
It's so good. People have been lamenting, the Criterion's doing a Razzies collection right
Yeah.
now, which is funny. And people
That's
have been
pretty
like,
cool.
Criterion's just like pandering and selling out. I legit think it's a cultural victory that Freddy Got Fingered has made it to
Okay.
Criterion. It's a fantastic film.
I have no idea how to rate this movie then. I would say most uninformed people, no one who is a true cinephile. The people who aren't true cinephiles would say this movie is bad. But I thought that this was, kind of an interesting, even like realistic take on what would happen if a boy went to the bathroom by himself and said a man who is Christ hugged me in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like
think
it
you're
would
right.
cause a lot of people to I'm like really glad that it didn't just go straight to like everybody being like, tell us about Christ.
Yes,
It was
which-
like
Yes.
pretty, even though it was, the execution was a little questionable, but the like idea that, the parents would be like, what the fuck? Like, you don't just see Christ in the bathroom. Who is in the bathroom with you? Like, we need to get to the bottom of this.
Right.
Right.
I
And the
thought that
way
was
they're arguing
pretty
after-
interesting take on it.
Yeah, and the way that they're arguing after already setting up that they've been arguing, of course they're not going to agree. And how do they respond to it? They're both like worried for their son and what happened, and they're both trying to like figure this out. But yeah, totally. If this was Pure Flix, they just immediately would be like, there would be at least, even if the parents didn't agree, there would be some group of people who are like, we know you saw Christ off the bat. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
But Julian, you didn't talk about Derman yet, which is kind of funny
Yeah,
that
Derman.
they get into it at the end of the scene instead of sooner.
Yeah, I didn't know that his name was Sherman until just a few moments ago.
Oh,
So I was really confused as to why she kept calling him. The negotiations break down, and Karen starts calling Sherman Derman to his face over and over again, which you can tell really gets under his skin, and he has to explain to the Officer John and the pastor that that's what kids used to call him in school to make fun of him. And she just keeps calling him Derman, which I thought was like really weird. I don't know. That was just such a bizarre thing for, number one, the mom to be doing when she's like trying to fight for figuring out if her child was molested or not. It just went down to like a really petty place. And also Derman was like the most creative nickname
Yeah. Don't know what that means.
Kenya Cagle could think of.
that's just one of
call
those
someone.
things, though. You get called something at a particular age, and like people pile on, and it just like sticks with you. And she knows that's like that pushes his button.
Yeah. Derman.
Yeah. So there's like
Darman.
quite a lot of so there's quite a lot of plot left in this relatively short movie. It's one of those things where it's like there's so many wonderful details. It's not that we want to overload people with the specifics. I do want to say what follows in the aftermath of this fight, which is by far the biggest scene in the movie, in my opinion.
Yes.
Sherman is kicked out of the house by Karen, who
Yes.
refuses to believe in God and puts Kenneth in counseling at school with a guidance counselor. Sherman takes up drinking and is like drinking on a park bench. He gets some testimony from the man in church who he had kicked out, accusing him of being a pedophile.
Yes.
The man still, takes pity on him and prays for him. Then Sherman is taken in by his brother, who we have not met so far in this film or heard that he's had a brother. His brother, who is a devout Muslim,
Yes.
who talks about Allah constantly.
Real quick, before
yes.
he ends up drinking on the park bench, he does have a pit stop at his sister's place
Right.
where she has a date with Kenya Cagle.
Is that Kenya
Yes.
Cagle?
Yes.
Ah.
Yes.
He can speak sign language.
Yeah. Yeah. Signing, it was a big part of this movie, which is interesting to see, but also seemed kind of unnecessary.
Yeah, it was kind of cool in that like they didn't have to explain it. You know?
Yeah, like other than mom being rude about it, which was obviously another issue. It was a pretty normalized deaf character, which was nice.
that was awesome to see. But I just wrote down that they were watching old movies. That was like the pitch for.
That was their date.
Sherman to hang out with them. They were like, he was like, I'll get out of your hair while you two have like a night together. And Kenya is like, we're just going to watch old movies if you want to join us. Like, what the fuck does that mean? You watch train pulling into station?
They're going to watch, they're going to watch Triumph of the Will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop. But I mean, like, you don't like, if you're deaf, like the only thing you're missing is like whatever score that they put over it that was not the original one, you know?
Yeah,
so you can like, it's more accurately or more similarly appreciate the movie.
This is true. It was just weird to hear somebody pitch it as we're watching old movies.
Yeah.
I guess that is like, kind of a normie way of talking about like watching like a movie from the 50s or something.
Right.
There are people who seem to have like a designation between like the only genre of films are new movies and like black and white movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There is then this brother who is very visibly Muslim for, again, seemingly no reason.
He's an imam.
Really didn't need his character at all in the film.
Yeah.
I think he could have easily written it that like his sister like took care of him or something. I don't know why he had to introduce a Muslim brother.
Yeah.
He says, Allah takes care of me. They do reveal that at one point when their sister was very traumatized and going through a rough time, she did see demons.
Mm-hmm.
And this is they were concerned about Kenneth's mental health because of the scary episode their sister went through.
Yeah.
But then like a big deal of the film takes place at Kenneth's school with his guidance counselor.
Yes.
And also several other characters in the school, including the guidance counselor's husband.
That was amazing.
Yeah. What did you like about the guidance counselor scenes?
So the weird like cutting in a way to make it seem like I don't know what was going on, if this was supposed to be several sessions with the guidance counselor or they shot it on different days and forgot to dress the same. But there were like multiple outfit changes by the guidance counselor in one scene. I really liked that. There's a little hint here. Kenneth is like sort of wary of this employee at the school who's like going to take him.
Yes.
To
back to class.
Back to class. And we later find out that Karen, his mom, has been seeing this guy.
Yeah, this is Mr. Anthony. I just want to butt in because in my notes I wrote, Kenneth doesn't like Mr. Anthony, who is very disrespectful, nipples protruding in front of guidance counselor, to quote Donald J. Trump, our once president.
I think this was supposed to be like hinting at he was now traumatized from the way like he was being treated after claiming to see Christ.
Right.
But it was not really followed up on. Anyways.
Well, he doesn't like Mr. Anthony. In the car in the beginning with his mom, he says that he heard his mom discussing matters of the family with Mr. Anthony.
Yes.
And and Sherman is like, you were talking to Mr. Anthony about our business? And the mom says, no, I was talking to his daughter.
Yeah.
But then later, soon after
and
that,
Kenneth, who never lies, is like, no.
Kenneth never lies.
Yeah.
No, it was him. She's like, no,
Interesting.
you're an 8-year-old. You don't remember.
Yes. So
I missed
then
that part.
when this, this man with like giant nipples fully protruding from his shirt says like, hey, Kenneth, I'll take you back to class. And Kenneth is like, no.
Yeah. Okay. I missed that first part.
Yeah. It's because he inherently doesn't trust Mr. Anthony because he can sense that his mom is having an affair.
But the guidance counselor is a much more interesting character.
Yes. She's awesome.
She's having dinner with her husband. Well, we'll find out. Not her husband.
Right.
As Kenneth, she begins to believe that Kenneth actually saw Christ because he was able to, because he knew that she was not married to this man who she shares a home with. Apparently, this information would destroy her career if it got out. She says, I'm the freaking guidance counselor. People come to me for answers. And that they'll think that I'm like a confused and lost person because I'm living with someone I'm not married to, which not really following the logic there, but whatever.
It's not.
I think that's a generational thing.
Yeah.
When she says like this information can't get out, and Kenneth knows this, the husband responds by saying, "Do you want me to silence him?"
If that goes out and that boy says something to anybody and they check it out, my entire job is on the line. Yours too? I'm the freaking guidance counselor. People come to me for answers. Who's gonna want to talk to a guidance counselor who can't keep a stable relationship herself?
That's irrelevant right now.
It is relevant. It's very relevant. And it's only one thing we can do.
What? What you saying? What you want me to permanently silence this kid?
Are you crazy? No. We're gonna have to fix it.
Fix it?
Yep. You're gonna have to put a ring on it.
There, stop. You know how I feel about marriage.
And he's wearing all black and like a weird, like, I don't know. It's like a weird, like 90s R&B singer hat.
Yeah.
That's like,
I don't know what you call that hat.
It's like a cabbie hat, but it's like tilted all the way down. So it's like covering one of his eyes. And this is just how he hangs out at home.
Yeah. He has like a really smooth, cool voice.
Yeah.
He's head of security. He's got to be like a smooth character.
Yeah. So she tells him
at
that
an elementary
no,
school, mind you.
she tells him that no, she does not want him to whack the little boy who knows that they're not married. And then I believe the scene shortly after this is this strange like parent-teacher conference between Karen, the guidance counselor, and like several teachers at the school.
Yeah.
Where we get another bombshell. And also the guidance counselor's husband, who is like standing in the background and sort of like comes forward when it seems like he's like getting ready to like attack someone. I didn't really understand what.
Wait, did we say why they're all in this meeting yet?
No, not yet. Do you want to reveal it, Scott?
Yeah, they're in the meeting because Kenneth spit in the face of a blind teacher.
Right. Yes. That did they say that going into the meeting, or was it revealed after they were already meeting?
I didn't know the teacher was blind.
Well, neither did they.
Yeah,
they did spit in. They did say it was because Kenneth spat in a woman's face.
Right. And both mom and dad, who are still not agreeing, still not on the same page, are both like, no, that's not our son. That he wouldn't do that. Like they both actually separately. Right. This was pretty good. I thought were like, not my son. They each separately were like, not my son wouldn't do that. My son wouldn't do that.
Right.
Yes. But when they ask the teacher who was spat on to speak up in the hearing, she is delighted. And she couldn't be happier that Kenneth spit in her face because 3 hours ago, she was blind. And now she can see perfectly. Somehow, no one that worked with her knew she was blind. They ask her, you were like temporarily blind? Are you diabetic? I've heard of people going blind from all sorts of things. She says, no, I was born blind. This is a person that they work with every day. Well, most of the year.
I didn't really think about that too much.
Everybody in the room, including the guidance counselor and whoever else is there from the school, we're all saying like, we're all questioning her on whether or not she was actually blind and cured by Kenneth's spit. It's very strange that none of her coworkers seemed to pick up on the fact that she was blind.
I liked that, when the blind woman does tell about the experience, she says, Kenneth said, I'm going to spit in your eyes, let the spit dry, and then go home and wash it off. So Kenneth is just talking to this older woman. Like, what if like a little kid was just like, you need to close your eyes and I'm going to spit in your eyes.
Yep.
And
you
you're just
let
like,
it dry
okay.
and go home and wash it off. And she agreed to it and it worked. Also, more on the fact that no one believes that she was blind before this, despite having worked with her. She has to bring her mom in as like a surprise witness to this hearing to confirm that she has, in fact, has been blind since birth.
Yes. And
her mom, who is just waiting outside for some reason.
I know
her
that
Hispanic
Kenneth,
mother.
Yeah.
Yes.
When she gets serious, goes, listen, mira, which actually means look in Spanish.
Yeah. Spanish people are always just saying all of their sentences twice when they're talking in English or Spanish. I get that Kenneth is supposed to be like with the Lord and, he has a wisdom beyond his years, but I think it's amazing when there's like a room full of adults who are like manipulated by an 8-year-old. Like the guidance counselor is like, I have this student I'm counseling, and let me tell you, I believe everything he says. It's like, lady.
Yeah. So at this point, it seems like Karen is the only one who no longer believes, or the only one who refuses to believe that her son has seen Christ.
The
has
blind
powers.
lady is compelling evidence, I will say.
Yeah, but no one can confirm that she was blind from birth since before this day.
I also want to add that Karen has conspicuously, several times through this movie, put her hand to her chest and said, ow, my chest hurts.
Yeah.
Yes, I thought she
nothing.
was going to have a heart attack in the church in that like third scene of the movie.
I did too.
Nope. You're going to have to wait a little bit longer for that.
But, we get a couple, oh, my chest. Well,
so
it's not a big deal.
What happened? Karen is still insisting that her son is mentally ill. She's now convinced that Kenneth is mentally ill and needs help. Everyone else around her believes that he saw Christ and has powers. She even sees on the news that the story of the woman who was spit on by Kenneth and can now see is spreading like wildfire, and another woman is taking credit for it and having her son come out on like the news and say that he's the one who spit in her face, which I thought was really funny because Karen is just watching that and like smiling and nodding, and like,
oh yeah,
the little boy and his mom, who are like falsely claiming to cure people, are just like, well, we can't do this for free, but come by and like we'll see what we can do.
And they could have tricked
just
the
like,
teacher
okay,
because she was blind when she got spit in the face. She's like, yeah, I guess that's
Yeah.
Kenneth.
Yeah, it's just lots of things are happening around Karen, and she still refuses to listen. Did anything? I have in my notes the part where Mr. Anthony, what was it?
Mr. Anthony
is like green screened over stock footage
Okay.
of some farming. And
Yes.
his voiceover says, I'm in North Carolina and I won't be coming back. For some strange reason, I lost my job. And he wanted nothing to do with a married woman like
That
Karen
green
anymore.
screen 2 minutes was awesome.
That was the
Yes.
best part of it. That was one of the best parts of the whole movie.
Yeah. So
That was
Karen's life is kind of spiraling too.
That's filmmaking is so good. It's like you evoking that someone has moved to the country from the city. They're supposed to be in like New York City, right?
Yeah.
So
I think they are.
Cablevision is based in New York.
Okay, well, I think they are because I think they say something about Queens
Yeah.
at one point. So it's taken for granted that they're in a very urban area. Not that we would really know this from watching the movie. It doesn't
But
really show
everything seems like very suburban around them.
I agree.
Like they live in an apartment, but they have cars. They're like
Right.
driving through the neighborhoods and stuff.
Right. But someone moves to the country and then this is such a drastic like change of life that in Cablevision, which I now just refer to what we are watching. We're not watching a movie. We're watching Cablevision. In Cablevision, we see, a man just, from the waist up, just in back of him via green screen is just like footage of like a deer walking through a field and like a tractor.
Was he wearing overalls in this too?
I don't remember.
I can't remember.
It's possible. But it's just like what a powerful image. It's like someone is just like surrounded with the aura of a tractor.
Yes.
Because they've moved to North Carolina, which, mind you, one of the 3 members of this podcast is currently talking from North Carolina. As far as I know, you aren't riding a tractor to work.
Sitting on my tractor right now.
Oh, okay. That's very convenient.
For some strange reason, I lost my job.
Yes, the Kenneth caused a miracle that got Mr. Anthony fired from his job and away from his mother.
Is that what happened?
That's what I think.
I didn't have that reading on it. I thought. Well, I don't even know what happened.
Well, Kenneth is giving people the blessings their life needs, and yes. Mr. Anthony and Karen need to be separated,
right?
Because it's not good for Karen's family nor Mr. Anthony. It's sin for both of them.
Yeah, so she needs to be back together with the guy that she hates.
Yeah, and she needs to have the temptation out of her life, and Mr. Anthony needs to stop pursuing a married woman. So it was the right thing for all of them.
Yeah. So this is this next scene, I believe, is where Sherman, the pastor, and his brother, the imam, walk into the apartment all like smiling and laughing and sort of like confronting Karen about how they all believe that the boy saw Jesus and that she needs to like finally admit it or something. This is where I wrote down that this this film hates women.
Okay, yeah, say more.
Because just the entire movie is just about like no one listening to Karen about, a very serious thing that happened to her child. And then just like disrespecting her the whole way, but also at the same time, it's like we as the audience are basically being told like, yes, he saw Jesus, he can perform miracles. And there's like a shift at some point where it's just like Karen's the villain because she didn't believe that he saw Christ in this totally made up scenario that was very realistic in its initial portrayal of like a boy coming back from the bathroom and saying like, I saw Christ, he touched me. Yeah. At some point there's a switch where it's just like, she should have just listened to her child. He never lies.
Right.
And then she just gets worse and worse, where she's just like so dead set in her belief that her son is mentally ill that like it's causing her heart issues and like alienating her from everyone else. And just the scene where like 3 guys come into her apartment to just be like, you need to listen to us. You're out of control is like so creepy.
Yeah.
It's like shades of like, my wife found out I'm having an affair. I need you to help me take her to the mental hospital.
Right. Yeah.
It's like those kind of vibes.
Yes.
We're just like, I'm tired of my wife talking back to me. I'm calling 911 to tell them she's gone insane.
Except they're right.
I know. That's the part. That's where I'm like, the film hates women because they are just right. And we as the audience know they're right the whole time. So it's basically just trying to be like, look at this moron who still refuses to believe that her son didn't see Christ, or still refuses to believe that her son saw Christ.
So not only does the film do that, what does it do at the end?
Also, she's still, up until this point, up until the moment she dies in about 5 minutes, she still refers to her husband's sister as being mentally ill over and over again. She falls over and dies. Karen falls over, a very real fall in like very real broken glass, which like people's hands were like near. I got really anxious that somebody was going to touch the broken glass.
Me too, because
The
it was
fall
like
was
super
really real.
slow-mo. It was this weird super slow-mo style. It was like stuttery, like the cheapest type of slow-mo, basically. Like first version of iMovie. And yeah, to your point, like how she drops the glass, I thought her head was like hitting the glass. It was nerve-wracking. It was so close.
They turned on the nitrous effect where the audio got all stretched out.
Yeah.
And she fell in a very realistic manner. I was like, wow, crazy.
And she is dead instantly.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, during this moment, I wrote down the note that the tattoo on her chest made her cleavage look like a butthole. It was like a bunch of like dark lines like going into the start of her cleavage, and it honestly looked like somebody's butt crack.
Weird.
Yeah.
She was also wearing like, skin tone like Spanx or something like that. It was just a weird shot. I would not have styled her the way they did for this scene where she's meant to like fall down on the floor and be filmed from above.
Yeah.
It was very
Kenya
strange.
Cagle knows what he's doing. He has a fashion line, so.
That's true,
right.
Yeah.
Don't
She was probably
question
wearing Kegel Vision spandex.
Cagle wear.
But
Cagle wear.
don't worry, she's not going to stay dead for long because Chekhov's Jesus comes in and speaks to Kenneth, who brings her back to life. I believe he tells Kenneth that she had to die because God had to like teach her a lesson. And then God brings her back to life. Which is very funny that like an all-powerful God is just like, God, you won't freaking listen to me. What do I have to do? Kill you? And then bring you back to life? Like, could have just been something else. I don't know.
No, because she demands a miracle, and Kenneth just like says something from the Bible because Jesus whispers it to him.
Right.
And
she says the classic Christian movie thing. I will only believe in God if he does a miracle and he has to do it to me.
Right. That's why she died.
And then you just get fucking struck by lightning.
Yeah. She comes back to life though. And I believe the family's like back together.
Yeah. She went to heaven. She saw all of their relatives.
Yes.
And she saw Jesus. And when she came to, she briefly saw Jesus over Kenneth's shoulder.
Yep.
So she believes. And she comes clean about her affair with Mr. Anthony.
That was so funny. What was the point
Waking
of that?
up from death and saying, I'll tell you everything. Yes, I slept with Mr. Anthony.
Yeah.
It's like, girl, I don't want to know that.
Yeah, that was really funny. She was like, I got to tell you the truth about Mr. She didn't even say that like she slept with him. She was just like, I'll come clean. I'll come clean about everything, including Mr. Anthony. And Sherman's face was so funny. It looked like he was about to like leave her right there.
I think we should do counseling. Save our family. I'll tell you everything. Even if you don't like it. About me and Mr. Anthony. My life hasn't been easy. And you weren't paying me enough attention. Please forgive me.
Karen, this is hard. You and Mr. Anthony? Come on, Karen.
I'm so sorry.
Mom, Dad, Jesus is smiling. He said start again.
Yet another way that this movie just hated the main female character. He just had her having an affair before. Which is like such a convenient way of just being like, see, this is why Sherman's so rude to her all the time, because he knows she's sleeping around behind his back.
Yeah, like the rudeness was always justified.
Yeah. Despite the fact that he's like, hurry up, we got to go to church. And then he's like, all right, I'm going to stop at my mom's real quick for lunch. And she's like, you couldn't have told us this when we got in the car? It's like, just stop asking questions.
Yeah, little wonder she had an affair. putting up with this all the time. Freaking Derman.
Well, she does say something to the effect of like, well, you didn't really pay a lot of attention to me and blah, blah, blah.
And
Despite,
it's funny that but Jesus' whole thing was like, these two people have to stay together.
Yeah.
Yes. Kenneth
That's how it
says,
is.
Mom, Dad, Jesus
so
is smiling. He says, start again.
That is so funny. Is Jesus ever going to be happy when like two people who are toxic for each other break up?
No, they made a covenant.
Yep. Yeah.
There's
What
a
is
covenant?
true love? Divorce is like the worst thing.
There's a show on Discovery Plus called Married at First Sight.
Yeah.
Have I talked about this before?
I've heard of it. I don't know if you told me about it
They have
before.
like people who are just talk about how they're like in their mid 20s and they're always talking about like all my life, all I wanted to be was married.
Yeah.
And now it's finally happening. And they just meet somebody and they're married. Obviously, it's all fucking fake. They meet somebody and they get married at the day they meet them. They meet them at the wedding ceremony. And then like the film just follows them on like couples vacations and like living together. And like a third of the people don't even end up moving in with each other.
Yeah.
And some couples are like fighting really bad, like the first week of being married. And they have these quote unquote counselors. One is like a marriage counselor, and I use the term loosely. Another is like a sex therapist or something. I don't really know, but one's a priest and or a pastor or something. And all three of them are always like, you have to make this work. You have to figure this out. Like you can't go. This is a vow you made to this person. It's
On
like,
reality
bro, this was like
television.
3 days ago we got married.
Right.
Yeah, this was a stunt that you did.
You signed off on this.
Well, I think we can all agree that we had a pretty transformative time watching The Boy Who Saw Christ.
Yeah.
It was not just a movie about Christ, kids, miracles. It was also a movie about many things, frankly, molestation and mental illness.
Yep.
A little bit of C-Tom, a little bit of Pure Flicks. It was a good film. We went over the plot in detail. We said some of the most important themes. We made a commitment to watch more Cablevision in the near future.
Oh, yeah.
But we must ask ourselves, what is the official Boys Bible Study rating of The Boy Who Saw Christ?
I'm going to give this 3 out of 3. Hours ago, I was blind. Now I can see. And I just wanted to also mention that the very last scene of the film, they are sitting in church, happy family, and a man in a white suit with dreads sits down behind the family, and Kenneth says, "Do you see that man?" to Karen, and she says, "Yes." And he goes, "That's Jesus. That's him." And we just get like a close-up on Jesus. And that's the end of the movie. I don't understand that at all.
That also, I only thought about this now. That confirms that there was, in fact, a man in the bathroom who touched Kenneth.
Yeah, but there was also Jesus who appeared like only to Kenneth multiple times.
Right.
But there was also a real
man
person
in church, in the church where he was
Yes.
hugged in the bathroom.
Yeah. I don't understand this ending. They just like threw everyone for a loop with the very end. It was really cool.
Yeah. And then of course, the title card comes up that says, Kenneth grew up to be a reverend and a filmmaker.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I loved this movie. This might be my favorite movie. This might be the most delighted I've been to watch a movie in 2024 so far. It was
Yeah.
so great. I can't believe there's so much Cablevision to watch. I'm so excited for it. Kenya Cagle is a new visionary. In the same vein as like a Jason Campbell. Even it's like when you look at how many movies he's made in like a year or two's time, like with his same community of people, it's very cool. It's very exciting. I'm very excited. I'm gonna have to give this movie 1 Sherman out of 1 Durman. A perfect score. A perfect movie.
Within all of us, there's a Sherman and a Durman.
Yep. That's
raging.
Sure.
It really does invigorate the spirit to find yet another just prolific, mentally unhinged person.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's what
Posting
life
their art
is,
online.
It's what life is all about.
It's like you find one and it just feels like this has got to be the last person like this.
I know.
But there's so many. It's never ending.
The world is so big. It's a wonderful place.
Truly overwhelming and truly enlightening.
Yeah. Like, you just have to keep going on, y'all.
Yeah.
Tomorrow feels like a long day away, but like there is a mentally ill person posting films and you need to see it.
Anyone can do this. It's like just follow your dreams because it's like this person can do this. And sure, most of his videos have under 3 views on YouTube.
But we're watching them.
But he's on a podcast now.
He's on a podcast now. And also, like, I just want to also say, like, if you're listening to us and you are mentally ill, like, you should go pick up that video camera and make a damn film, please.
Yeah. He's on Boys Bible Study today. 6 months from now, he'll be on God Awful Movies. This guy's blowing up.
Leave it in. Leave it in. Well, I really enjoyed this film. Yes, I once was blind, but now I have Kegel vision because I am tapped into the world of Kenny Kegel, and my life will simply never be the same. I got to give this film like approximately 50 out of 50 framed art prints sitting on the floor of the guidance counselor's office, because that was one of my favorite sets. It was just like someone's walk-in closet that they used to collect just framed photos that are strewn about. Marvelous DIY sets and costumes. I really enjoyed the whole thing from beginning to end. It was sort of inconsistently paced. There were some scenes that were amazing and some that were a little less so, but the whole film from beginning to end was a delight. And I agree with Scott that this is one of my faves in a long time. So, genuinely, anyone listening to this who, maybe watches a couple of the films we review, waits for us to say that one's like really good and you should watch it. This is the one. Go on Tubi and put this one on.
I think this might be the best movie we watched since what was the weird sci-fi one with the brothers who didn't look like brothers? Jacob's Secret or whatever.
Oh, Elijah's Secret.
Elijah's Secret, yeah.
The best one since Elijah's Secret is pretty high praise.
Yeah. Yeah, didn't that win Best Picture at the Golden Calf?
It sure did. It won the Golden Calf Award for Best Picture. So, hey, we got a long year ahead of us, but I'd be surprised if this one wasn't a contender. But yeah, this has been another week of Boys Bible Study, the official Kegel Vision podcast, where we cover all things Kenya Kegel. I would say expect to see more of him in the near future. And if you would like to hear more reviews of Kenya Kegel or other Christian filmmakers, please go to patreon.com/boysbiblestudy, where you can subscribe to get bonus content from us. You'll have new Boys Bible Study every single week. Also, shout outs to our patron saints at the $20 tier: Nicole, Marissa, Jeff, Rhett, and Mark. Thank you very much for your generous support. Also, our outro music is the song "Oh My God" by Mary. So from all of us here at Boys Bible Study, myself, Ash, my co-hosts, Scott and Julian, we would like to say, peace be with you.
And also with you. I don't have a voice to do. Sorry.
That's all right. We don't need to hear because we've got Kegel vision.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I feel your love in me, it's coming from within. Oh my God, my devotion is so unwavering. Divine emotions when you enter me. Every day you